Trick or treat, everyone! In today's video, we're hosting a trunk or treat pop-up event inspired by a not-so-scary Hello Kitty Halloween theme with a variety of DIY treat ideas you can make. There's Hello Kitty pumpkin cake pops, Rice Krispie treats in 3D and classic bars, more pops like Keroppi marshmallows and Chococat Oreos, as well as Black Cat costume apples and Hello Kitty Halloween donuts. Get your treat table ready for a fun experience with family and friends, or as a great opportunity to get your small business out there. And guys, there was a big selection for Hello Kitty this spooky season, so I had to grab some prizes for this Hello Kitty Halloween giveaway. The winning subscriber will receive this cozy plush throw, perfect for a fall night, an adorable skeleton stepper, as well as a Hello Kitty hot cocoa bomb set shown in one of my most recent reels, a candy serving bowl to fill with your favorite candies, and this brush set I forgot to include on the table. All these items make the sweetest gift for any Hello Kitty fan. To enter the giveaway, you need to be subscribed to my channel here on YouTube. Then in the comment section down below, comment your Instagram username with this spiderweb emoji, and also be following me on my Instagram. I'll be announcing the winner on my Instagram story Friday, October 4th. So let's create something magical! The first treat we're making are these Hello Kitty pumpkin cake pops that are the cutest pumpkins in the entire patch. As you can see by the box, I'm preparing a chocolate cake pop dough, but to create any flavor of your choice, all you need to do is substitute the flavor of cake mix and follow the base recipe provided on the screen for the exact amount of each ingredient. Give it a mix until combined into a chocolatey batter and get ready to bake by pouring into an 8x12 greased and lined baking pan. I avoid the box instructions to prevent a dry, cracky dough, so instead you want to bake for 20 to 25 minutes at 325 degrees, and it's essential to sweat the cake anywhere from 4 hours to overnight. To learn how to do that, plus all the other tips and tricks, our baking buddy Hello Kitty recommends for you to watch my free cake pop class if you haven't already, to master your cake pops like a pro, cause it all starts with the dough. Here, I'm kneading everything in the mixer with the paddle attachment. Prior, I sliced up the cake into cubes and threw them in there, and watch how easily it all comes together just like magic. It should pull away from the sides in the mixing bowl without any crumbs in just a few minutes. Now we have a smooth, firm dough to roll and shape into our pumpkins. The supplies you're going to need are this pumpkin mold from My Little Cake Pop, as well as a scoop to portion for uniform size. My favorite tool is this meatball scoop. Start by measuring out 1.5 scoops, then roll them together into one ball. Using a larger amount in the mold ensures the dough fills up all the empty gaps when firmly pressed shut. Go ahead and squeeze really well, then remove all the excess and gently clean up the seam with either a toothpick or lollipop stick. I will link all the supplies shown today in the description box down below. Carefully remove your perfect pumpkin by peeling it out, and the next important step is inserting the lollipop sticks by simply dipping into a small amount of orange chocolate. One of my tricks for upside down cake pops is to twist into the center as you normally would and turn them bottom side up in a cake pop stand. Then allow the sticks to set for 5 to 10 minutes and begin dipping into your chocolate that has been thinned out to a fluid dipping consistency with your thinning agent of choice. This helps the coating appear smooth while still showing the visible lines on the rind of the pumpkin. A thick coating won't have that same definition. My trick to achieving a clean bottom is to pipe a small dot of chocolate onto a sheet of parchment paper, either with a squeeze bottle or piping bag, and hold for a few seconds to center the cake pop. The second part of the design is the Hello Kitty face. For the look to pop, I prefer a mold that's 3D, almost similar to an ice cube tray, rather than one that's on the flatter side. These extra details are completely optional. In the bow area of the mold, I filled in 3 stripes of chocolate in yellow, orange, and white to look like a candy corn effect, and gave it a touch of sparkle with sanding sugar by brushing on some edible adhesive in that section and sprinkled on the matching color of sanding sugar or edible glitter. Another option is to make the bow one plain color, but the candy corn style looks extra sweet. Finish off her features by following the markings as your guide. For her nose, I cut out yellow fondant with decorating tip number 3 and rolled it into an oval shape. Then do the same with black fondant for her eyes and press right into the impression for where they're marked on the molded surface. She's not complete without her classic whiskers. I drew them in with black edible marker using a light pressure to keep the whiskers inside the lines. All that's missing from the pumpkin is the jack-o'-lantern face. The little triangles for the eyes are made with a tiny triangle cutter and arranged wherever you want them to go on the cake pop. Don't forget the jack-o'-lantern grin. Taking the edible marker, I drew a zigzag right across the front. Last but not least is attaching Hello Kitty above the pumpkin, piping the chocolate where it contacts the stick. And I found this decorative fall mold with a little pumpkin to mold out of fondant. I cut some off from the bottom so it lays flat on the side of her head to crown her as the pumpkin queen of Halloween. Next are these fun Oreo pops that are inspired by one of Hello Kitty's friends named Chococat. I have my Halloween Oreos here. I'm going ahead and twisting open a cookie and setting the top half off to the side. My popsicle sticks are a glittery gold color. Be sure to dip the stick into black chocolate. An important tip is to press through the cream without breaking the cookie, making a slot so the stick stays embedded in there and the top half of the cookie lays flat when the layers are sandwiched together. All I'm doing is adding chocolate on the cream, assembling the top half over it, and flattening the layers going all around. The chocolate acts as your glue, and don't be afraid to lightly press. Just keep in mind not to crush the Oreos by pressing down too hard. The key when coating the Oreos is not to dip straight in. Go side to side, front to back, otherwise the chocolate will drip down the stick. One of the most common problems with coloring black chocolate is it can become very greasy from the high oil content and the large amount of coloring. I suggest gradually adding the black candy coloring until reaching your desired shade first. Then assess the fluidity before adding any thinning agent. While the Oreo pops are setting, Chococat is helping us make his cat ears with the silicone animal ears mold. For the inner part, I apply the yellow chocolate with a toothpick for extra precision using a dabbing motion, and fill in the rest with a squeeze of the black chocolate. Pop them in the fridge for 15 minutes before unmolding, and transform the Oreo pops by attaching the ears onto each side with a bit of chocolate. It's a bit tricky since the Oreo is curved. Follow along the edge where it fits the best and hold for 10 to 15 seconds before letting go. A fun fact is that Chococat is actually named after his chocolate-colored nose, so I'm mixing 2 colors of fondant in white and dark brown for a custom chocolate color. I rolled it out and cut a mini circle with my piping tip and formed it into a jelly bean shape. Then feel free to slightly flatten it out. The The pair of googly eyes can be done with a circle plunger cutter and white fondant. The pupils are made with the same piping tip method. If you take a look at a picture of Chococat, the whiskers have a unique curve to them. The best way to resemble the whiskers with the right thickness is an extruder. I tighten the attachment, load the fondant, and turn the crank to simplify the process, then cut off some strands with a knife. Bend the ends while the fondant is still soft. You'll notice in the picture a unique feature about the whiskers is that the top whiskers curve downwards and the bottom whiskers curve upwards. Now Chococat is ready to join the Halloween party. Another simple yet spectacular treat that's sure to stand out on the table are these 3D Hello Kitty Rice Krispie treats. For the recipe, a colored cereal isn't required since the limited edition Shocking Orange can be hard to find at your local store, and a green cereal doesn't exist anyways. Bring your stove to low heat and add 4 tablespoons of butter to your saucepan that has been sprayed with non-stick. Once the butter is melted, drop in 1 package of mini marshmallows, continuing to stir until it turns into what looks like a gooey and delicious marshmallow sauce. Next, grab a vibrant gel food coloring. I'm squeezing in 6 drops in the shade Leaf Green. It makes the perfect monster green color for our Franken Kitty. Remove the green and bean mixture from the heat before pouring in 6 cups of Rice Krispie cereal. To scrape all the coloring from the bottom, incorporate half at a time. Keep in mind the finished product will appear a shade or so lighter once the cereal is fully coated with the marshmallows. The super cute Hello Kitty baking set from Amazon includes the 3D face mold for easy shaping. Remember to spray each cavity with non-stick along with your palms to make the mixture easier to work with. Tightly pack a generous piece into the cavity, working quickly while the mixture is still warm and moldable, especially pushing into the corners to define her ears and bow. Anyone can help with this activity as long as you check that they're nice and compact in the mold so they don't fall apart and there's no holes or craters in your decorating surface. Set them aside for 30 minutes before pushing to release the Hello Kitty Rice Krispie treats, and the fun part is the decorating. Franken Kitty is very fashionable. All the bows were conveniently made in the same exact cake mold by tracing inside of the cavity with purple chocolate in a squeeze bottle. To bling out her bow, I'm spreading on a light layer of edible adhesive. An even application is best so the glitter doesn't go on clumpy, and shake on that glitter. Bring her to life with eyes and nose. I'm taking a piping tip number 10 to cut the yellow fondant, rolling side to side to oval it out, placing in the center of the Krispy treat, and black fondant ovals for the eyes. Although the treats are very sticky, the only detail that should be attached with something more sturdy like chocolate or icing is her bow. For fine details like the whiskers, I prefer a tipless piping bag, either with a stiff consistency icing or chocolate. And guys, if you're enjoying so far, be sure to join the party and subscribe for more spooky treat tutorials, and hit that bell to receive all notifications. Finish the Franken Kitty with a scar by piping 1 diagonal line and 3 shorter lines right over it. Frankenstein's partner in crime is the Pumpkin Kitty design. The bright color was mixed with 12 drops of neon orange gel food coloring, and she's going to need a hat on a sunny fall day. I'm taking a daisy plunger cutter to cut out the orange fondant and topped it off with a green Mike and Ike stem. Have your candies cut in half and stick onto the top of the fondant with a dot of edible adhesive, and we have our petite pumpkin beret. Let's tie the whole look together with her hot pink sparkly bow. Hello Kitty agrees everything is better with a little bit of sparkle. Secure to the side with a bit of chocolate and complete the design by piping 3 whiskers on each side. It's no surprise that marshmallow trees are popular items, so canned Keroppi is sure to be a hit on the menu. The jumbo size has more space to fit all the decorations, and there's no need to seal the sticks with chocolate. They're plenty sticky to push in the marshmallows plain, twisting to prevent distorting the shape. After that, it's time to dip into a green chocolate. The lime green frog shade was mixed with a combination of green and yellow oil-based coloring. An OXO pouring cup is convenient to dip and reheat in between. Mr. Keroppi's big signature eyes are put together with a candy wafer and a black beady circle of fondant cut out with tip number 10. Lightly press the pupil to the wafer while Keroppi spies on all the decorating. A helpful tool to keep the marshmallow more stable is this individual cake pop holder from the website called hgb3z.com. It's extra handy when arranging where all the decorations should go. The eyes sit high on top of the marshmallow, and I sketched on his mouth with black edible marker in a wide V shape. The blushy cheeks were a small sphere molded out of pink fondant that I flattened between my fingers. The placement is somewhere towards the ends of Keroppi's mouth. Add on his fangs, piping a teardrop shape by dragging the icing downwards. And the final part of his vampire suit is a bow tie molded in red chocolate. While doing this, I face him upright to make contact without snapping off the edge. And Count Keroppi is looking fantastic. The star of the show are these Hello Kitty character apples dressed up in her black cat costume. I've washed and dried my Granny Smith apples and hammered the wooden candy apple sticks into the core with a mallet. No additional prep is required for dipping in plain chocolate, only for a chewy type of caramel or hard candy. My tips and tricks for the ears are to take a regular sized marshmallow and snip it in half on a diagonal, and one last time in half again. Cutting a second time tapers the ears into a thinner triangle to appear less bulky, and one marshmallow will make 2 pairs of ears. Cling the sticky portion onto each side of the apple. You may find that they shrink from drying out, so the ideal time to dip in chocolate is as soon as possible, right after the ears are stuck on. The black chocolate coating leaves the ears super seamless. Shake off the excess and wipe the bottom on the side of your dipping container. Avoid getting chocolate on the stick by tilting the apple side to side and completely cover the ears. Hello Kitty's furry face peeks through her costume by cutting white fondant with an oval cookie cutter. When working with black chocolate, it's best to stick the white fondant on fresh without any edible adhesive. That way there's no bleeding or color transfer. Top off the oval with her traditional yellow nose and eyes with a tip number 30. Just like on Chococat, the extruder rolls the whiskers to a thickness similar to a spaghetti. Trim the strands to your desired length, and my go-to technique is to mark where you want the whiskers with a toothpick as your guide, rocking back and forth. Dab a small amount of edible adhesive onto the toothpick to trace over the impression. Less is more here. Then insert the whiskers into that spot. Accessorize her costume with a sparkly purple bow attached to the side with a stiff consistency icing. Once you try these chocolate baked donuts, it's impossible to only have one, which is why there's a trio of pumpkin, mummy, and Frankenstein varieties. This amazing recipe makes the most enjoyable sweet snack, and they're even better baked in a Hello Kitty pan. The last thing we want is a lumpy donut, so always sift the dry ingredients. Let's sift 270 grams of flour into a large bowl, followed by 133 grams of granulated sugar, 50 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder for that chocolatey flavor, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a quarter teaspoon of baking soda, and last is a half a teaspoon of salt. Having the ingredients measured in grams is the most precise, but just in case you don't have a scale at home, I will also write the equivalent measurements in cups. Once you're done sifting away, whisk to combine and set aside the dry ingredients. Going into a separate bowl is 1 1/4 cups of room temperature whole milk, 4 tablespoons of melted butter, as well as 1 whole egg at room temperature, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Give it a whisk to fully beat the egg and blend the mixture. Now's the time to pour into the dry ingredients and mix, mix, mix. If you notice, this recipe doesn't require a hand mixer. And at the end, I check that all the powder is fully incorporated with a rubber spatula. At the time I purchased this donut mold, it was from the Chef Made store on Amazon. Currently, the lowest price I could find is on the Team U website. The fun has just begun after spraying the mold with nonstick and pipe the batter into each cavity about 2/3 full with a piping bag. To prevent overfilling, the estimate is about 2 rotations. From experience, the only thing I would have done differently is to go back and fill in the ears a little more. So my tip to you is to squeeze more batter into that part of the mold. The kitty donuts are all set to pop in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes at 350. They bake up so quickly with an amazing texture. Give them a chance to cool down, and of course you can choose to frost the donuts with a traditional glazed recipe. However, I like to dip them in chocolate because it lasts longer without drying out and the colors don't fade as quickly. Twist your donut into a shallow dipping container and lift to shimmy it around and settle the chocolate. If for some reason you find the coating is too sheer, especially for the white, feel free to go back in with the second dip. The base colors for the designs are white, green, and orange chocolate. The Chef Made donut pan doubles as a built-in bowl mold to mix and match for Hello Kitty's 3 different Halloween costumes. Firm them up in the fridge for 10 minutes. The bowls pop right out without having to worry about cracking since the mold is on the thicker side. First, the Mummy Kitty donut has several lanes of wraps that crisscross and overlap. The wraps are upgraded even more with basket weave tip number 47 for the mummy-like texture and a girly, hot pink, sparkly bow. The Franken Kitty is the quickest to decorate. Place the bow onto a green donut and pipe the scar with a stiff consistency black icing and a tipless piping bag. And the last donut is pumpkin spice and everything nice. Have the bag fitted with tip number 3 to add more dimension and pipe 2 lines in the center, followed by a curved line along the edge and another one between to divide the center and edge lines. Last but not least is this super cool slime green edible glitter. It is far from being an ordinary pumpkin, and all 3 of these donuts were so simple yet creative. The other version of Rice Krispie treats are the classic shape. You can't go wrong saving on time with these shortcuts and a fabulous canvas for decorations like Chococat and the Witchy Kitty. Start by cutting your silicone soap molds out individually. The pre-made Kellogg's bars fit perfectly in the cavity without having to do any cutting. Just a little bit of flattening to prevent anything from overflowing. Pour a generous amount of chocolate into the mold, rotating to line the bottom, and add the Rice Krispie over it. Continue repeating those steps with the remaining treats. Don't be tempted to pour the top layer just yet until the treat has set in there for at least 5 to 10 minutes. That way it prevents the treats from popping up and moving around. Once the 5 to 10 minutes are up, fill in the final layer flowing around the border and remaining space on top. Give it a tap 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 on the counter to settle out the chocolate, and they're all set to chill in the fridge for 15 to 20 minutes and peel away from the mold to reveal sharp edges with a flawless bump-free canvas. 2 materials are needed to turn the bars into Rice Krispie Pops, which are your lollipop sticks and a cookie scribe that has been slightly warmed up. Gently poke through similar to a sewing needle until stable and secure. The Chococat design is similar to the Oreo Pops, except I'm removing the top layer of cream. Since you'll only be needing the cookies for this part, drop an Oreo into a shallow dipping container, and once completely coated, dig it out with a dipping tool, shaking the excess off before placing on a parchment-lined baking sheet to dry. From here on, the same decorations as we made for Chococat earlier could go onto the coated Oreos, leaving the ears for last, connecting as close as possible to the Oreo on a slight angle. The Witchy Kitty is the other design. A green background is captivating to set the scene. This mold has a little outfit on Hello Kitty that I filled in with purple chocolate, and I embellished her bow with a spectacular silver edible glitter. Then for her witchy accessories, this mini mold has a witch hat and a kawaii-inspired pumpkin. I slanted the hat to lay against her ear along with the pumpkin on the bottom. Bring her look to the next level with a broom so she's ready to fly into the night. I hope you guys enjoyed these DIY Hello Kitty creations for Trunk or Treat. Like this video if you did, and comment your favorite character down below. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. It's Christina here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.